Welcome back. Today we will be talking about Ross Gerber on Dave Lee on Investing's YouTube channel with an interview that partly covered Palantir. Now, I just want to make this abundantly clear. I really like Ross. I appreciate his research, his work, that he has a fund, that he's an investment advisor, that he does his own thing, and that he shares his opinions so freely. I think that is great. He has done some good work with Tesla, and I really do respect him as an investor. So I want to make that clear. I even invited him onto the channel after seeing this, watching this interview that he had on Dave Lee's channel. So I said, you're welcome to come on. I just want to have a more open conversation because there is some really controversial statements in here, not entirely thought out or explained upon. But Ross didn't really get back, so that's fine. I wasn't really expecting to have this. So today I'm releasing some more information, my analysis, and some more footage that really shows that what Ross is doing here is very emotional, and he has a very emotional reaction to this company for some reason, and potentially there is a reason. But first I want to just sort of break down what this was about. So he says he believes Palantir is, quote, the literal worst company in the world, and what they're doing is just tracking everything Americans do and selling that to the highest bidder, even if they're enemies of America. So first of all, that demonstrates a real fundamental misunderstanding of Palantir, and what I'm really most annoyed by and actually frustrated by is the slanderous, unsubstantiated claims by Ross that really do, much like the FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, against Tesla in the early days, hurt not only the company and and people's perception of the company, also the livelihoods of those working for Palantir. So I believe Palantir, as they pitch themselves, are a fundamentally good company. And it really is very hurtful when you have a platform to come out and say really terrible things about the company, especially when you really don't have substantiated evidence to back it up. It's really terrible to see Ross attack the CEO, the management, and all the employees that are really working for some great things. If you would actually dig more into Palantir, you know they are doing great things. But first, on this tracking point, it really, again, demonstrates he doesn't really know what he's talking about, at least in this specific area, because Palantir is not about tracking. You just have a look at this. Palantir, this is their own document here. It was a Medium blog post release, I think right after they went DPO, because they saw this as a misunderstanding. Palantir is not a data broker or data aggregator. Unlike many tech companies, he compares Palantir to Facebook and just how they're so evil with the ways they use data. But look, Palantir is saying this. This is a fact. Our business model is not based on the monetization of personal data. This goes directly against what Ross is saying here. We do not collect, store, or sell personal data. We do not use personal data to train proprietary AI or machine learning. Okay, that's not exactly what he was saying, but Palantir's not reselling to other customers with their machine learning models. We never facilitate the movement of data between clients except where those specific clients have entered into an agreement with each other. So basically what I heard from Ross in this Dave Lee part is that he doesn't trust Palantir. He thinks that everything that Palantir would say is just not true and they just don't have integrity. So what I want to say to Ross is, I'm not going to believe you unless you show evidence. You can't just say these statements from Palantir are flat out false and they're lying, because where is your evidence for that? It's just a flawed argument. So basically, I think he's just really struggling with not understanding Palantir, because Palantir really is just a software company. They're not politically tied. If you really think about it, Alex Karp is on the left side and Peter Thiel is on the right side. So what I'm guessing is Ross is a little tied up in the political connections, but a company, as Dave actually points out in this, is willing to fill in a public company which can actually offer a more accountable way for the government to actually service this data analysis. And remember, Palantir is just doing the data analysis. They're not, as Ross says, going out and tracking everyone. Palantir is just sorting and aggregating data. It's as simple as that, as far as I understand it. Palantir, at its core, is just a software company that builds digital infrastructure for data-driven operations and decision-making. Its products serve as the connective tissue between an organization's data, analytics capabilities, and operational execution. Palantir's platforms tie these together by bringing the right data to the people who need it, allowing them to take data-driven decisions, conduct sophisticated analytics, and refine operations through feedback. That's the end of the road there. So I want to thank TJ Evans because he was able to dig up some SEC filings, which are public information if anyone wanted to go back and look. This is Q1. I believe this is Q1. And here we have Ross Gerber's fund. We can go and look for Palantir here. Palantir. We see actually a purchase of 20, we could round that up to 28,000 shares. So what happened to these shares? Well, eventually they got sold in Q3. So if we have a look at Palantir once again, there we are in Q3 with these shares being completely sold off, okay? So it seems like Ross is coming from an emotional point of view. I think everyone comes from an emotional point of view. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think it's worth pointing out that we all have our biases, and a bias could be that Ross is no longer invested in Palantir and he has essentially sold out of it, which means he doesn't care what happens to the company. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's more to the story there. Anyway, I have another clip that I would like to show. So I will play this, and it actually has even more of a smackdown on Palantir from Ross Gerber, who just has it out for this company.
What are your thoughts on PLTR?
Everybody loves Palantir on Twitter. Everybody talks about Palantir on Twitter. And I just don't understand the fascination with the CIA business. Okay. Palantir is one of the worst ESG companies you could ever own. They spy on us. That's what they do. They gather our data and they sell it to foreign actors for profit. I have no desire to be involved with this business at all. Okay. It was basically funded by the Mercer family, which set up the white supremacy groups that are supporters of the Trump organization.
Yeah, so I've seen Tom Nash's video, which actually debunks this because Palantir comes way before that. They actually came out of PayPal. Ross Gerber just has something against Peter Thiel politically. That's just my guess. Again, I would love to have Ross on the channel or just to actually follow up with us on why he doesn't like Palantir this much. You can even say he hates Palantir because of how much he says this is literally the worst company in the world. So it really just makes us kind of guess as to why he doesn't like Palantir, but he is a literal investment advisor giving literal investment advice and runs a fund. So I would appreciate more transparency. That's all I will say.
So Alex Karp is one of the most evil people. Just look at him. Just look at this guy. He looks like the devil.
So like, this is why I say it's really an emotional point of view from Ross Gerber. And so why is he making a joke about the way that someone looks, especially the CEO of the company? He's saying, look at the CEO. This is why I'm not invested. I hate the look of the CEO. Like, what is this? This is awful. This is terrible. I guess he's trying to make a joke. It's just not professional is what it is. There's just no professionalism to a comment like that. And maybe I'm overreacting, but after these lists of terrible things about Palantir, I just think, where's the evidence? And his evidence apparently is the look of the CEO, the CEO's hair. The beloved Alex Karp, is that really your investment thesis? I mean, I guess it's the investment thesis for all the bulls, but anyways.
And he is. And so what he does is he spends his day figuring out how to track your TikTok so that he knows everything about you, and then he sells it to anybody. So it is the most un-ESG company you could own if you care about ethics or our society or the basic rot, the tech rot of the stealing of our data to sell not only to consumer companies, but foreign governments, many of which are enemies of our country.
Yeah, so there lies a fundamental misunderstanding. As I've been saying, this is a theme here. This is a theme. I don't know why Ross is talking about these things when he doesn't understand or hasn't put in the time or hasn't been told that Palantir doesn't work with enemies of the United States. That's just a rule that they have that's written in their S1. That is just exactly how they follow. How else would they get contracts with government? It's just kind of disappointing to hear these comments when Ross is talking about this sort of stuff without even demonstrating a good enough understanding.
I would love to see Palantir be shut down. So I have no desire to own it, don't want to be a part of it. And if you guys want to own it and think it's going to be some great stock, these people don't care about making you money. You think they care about their shareholders? Karp sold over $1 billion of stock.
All right, here we go again. Well, I would ask Ross, why did you buy it in the first place then? And that is a fair point, the stock-based compensation. But what do you have to add to the discussion other than this overused thesis? I mean, it really is. This is very akin to a bear attack like Gordon Johnson on Tesla. in 2017, 18, 19. It just seems like he's just spewing all of this stuff. It's like, where's the real discussion? Where's the real crux of the argument? What do you have to add to the discussion here? And it just seems like he's just latching on to things that aren't true, but also things that everyone knows are true.
They're cashing out on you. It's the classic pump and dump, cash out on the public so that the CIA guys who have all made their billions tracking us can then, cash out at your expense. That's Palantir.
He just sounds like he's been hurt by Palantir somehow. That's the additional footage I wanted to show. Pretty much unprofessional in my opinion. Again, really do respect Ross. He's lost some credibility in my eyes after seeing all of this on his point of view on Palantir, not just because I'm a Palantir shareholder and have this channel, but because I would expect someone of this caliber to be either talking with evidence-backed points or to say, I need to learn more about this, or I can't talk about this right now because I don't know enough. Not to be making stuff up. It's really just the antithesis of what he's doing with Tesla. It's a bunch of FUD, and it's just really disappointing to see. So again, I leave the open invitation to Ross. I'd love to talk to him. I respect him very much. I think he's doing great work. I just disagree with his Palantir argument. And I really hope this doesn't come across as an attack at Ross. I've been following his Twitter for the longest time. I watch all his Twitter live streams, toasting the Tesla bears and all of those. I watch all of his interviews on the mainstream media. I was very eager to watch this Dave Lee video. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ross, but not his statements about Palantir. So that's where I'll leave it. I hope we can keep this civil, and I hope I filled in any holes of the sort of statements being made in these two videos. So I'll catch you in the next video. Until next time.